Hi, thanks for watching Turn to the Stars. My name is Andrea Klim, and today I am going to be doing covering the second part of Neptune's journey through the constellation of Pisces, which we are experiencing presently at this time. Today is February 7th, and just last week we had Neptune move completely into the constellation of Pisces. And from an astrological standpoint, the next 14 years are going to be quite interesting in many ways. So we're going to talk about that today. And I wanted to show you, and of course, as you can see on the screen, the title of the show is called Light the Way. And it's because Neptune's energy influence is one that sort of puts us in a fog or in a haze when we first feel the first effects of a transition. And Neptune loves to be in this constellation because it can express itself with ease. And Neptune being that planet that affects our belief systems, affects, our imagination. But it also, there's a lot to talk about with Neptune, and it can be sort of foggy or misty or confusing at times, and deception is also one of the words that comes to play with Neptune. But one of the great things about Neptune, it is the great dissolver or resolver of things, and we can certainly expect that over the next 14 years as Neptune travels through this constellation of Pisces. Pisces, every single zodiac sign has planets that rule it. And the reason why Neptune is at home in the constellation of Pisces is because Pisces is naturally ruled by this Neptunian influence. If you know anybody who's Pisces people are typically very gentle people, typically very talented and yet very emotional. They have grand imaginations, and they can certainly be the drama queens of the zodiac. But they can also be the most creative and have so much empathy for people and compassion. Their imagination has no limitations for the Pisces person. However, when in times of difficulty, it is certainly quite the test for the Piscean on this earth because of their sensitivity. You can certainly see how they suffer with the regular day-to-day living on Earth. So we're going to talk about the different influences of Neptune and what we can expect over these next 14 years. And one of the things that I want to show you, if you have this magazine, the Smithsonian, this is the February edition. I brought this with me because Neptune is making its way into the, we call it ingress into the sign of Pisces. This catalog is coming out, Smithsonian Magazine, the February edition, and as you can see, the picture is of Charles Dickens, and he was actually, during the last Neptunian transit through the constellation of Pisces, which was between 1847 and 1861. Let me make sure I have those dates correct. I'm pretty sure that I do. I do. And during that time, that was the time that Charles Dickens wrote all his novels. So it was also, and they have this right on the front of the Smithsonian Magazine, the obsession issue. Neptune or Pisces energy is one that tends to obsess over the things that they get in their heads. They can't seem to let them go. The new craze for Dickens, the world's... They talk about the gold fever in the Amazon, and the last time that Neptune was in Pisces, was the time of the California gold rush, and now we have a gold rush, a gold fever, gold rush that's occurring in the Amazon. It's very interesting, and the other interesting fact about Neptune in Pisces, the last time that it was there was the time that Neptune was actually discovered. And so it is my point in that is that it brings clarity. Or, typically if you're in the middle of a fog, you're driving and it's nothing but fog around you, you look for lights, or you look for ways to get through that fog. And so we're certainly in that place, humanity, at this time. And I found something that I wanted to share with you, which is about this time in our evolution. And I found this article online that I thought was pretty interesting, and the author called it Awakening Our Divinity, Neptune Enters Pisces. And they had this little poem, which was, listen, make a way for yourself, inside yourself, stop looking in the other way of looking. You already have the precious mixture that will make you well. Use it. So, awakening to our divinity, meaning that we each have inside of ourselves what it is that we need. Yet we tend to obsess about looking in so many different directions. And if you think of the symbol of Pisces, it is two fish, one looking this way, one looking that way. And as long as the waters are calm, everything is fine, everything is beautiful, everything is blissful. However, upset the waters and there's turmoil. And there's suffering. So those are also parts of the Neptunian influence. And we do have a video which you saw a couple of weeks ago on the show, which is called Light the Way. And it is exactly about this time that we're living in. And it is our way of inspiring you through this time to look for that light in the fog. So I'm going to play that video before we get into the informational part of this show, just to uplift the spirits a bit. And so we're going to watch that. We'll be right back. So I hope you found that video inspiring. A big thank you to my husband, Peter Klim, for creating it. He was walking around with this song in his head for quite some time, and he did some research, and I told him some of the things that I wanted to talk about in regards to Neptune and its journey into Pisces and how that would affect all of us. It's such a huge transition, and it's one that's going to stay with us for the next 14 years. We're going to feel the effects of this energy. So, you know, you might be saying, what is that going to look like? I've actually had quite a few calls from clients wanting to know what that would look like for them in their lives. So I'm going to overall talk to you about what that means for the United States. So I do have a chart which is showing where Neptune is in regards to the United States. And so if you're looking at the bottom of the screen, down, right at the bottom there, you can see it looks like a pitchfork. It's probably, if you were looking at a clock, it would be right about 6 o'clock, just before 6 o'clock. There's a symbol down on the bottom of the screen. On the outside wheel, it looks like a pitchfork, or, over to the left a little bit. Right, I guess that would be the other way. Yeah. No, it's actually the other way. Anyway, it looks like the trident, or if you watched The Little Mermaid, it was King Neptune's trident, or his staff. And that's the symbol for Neptune. And the way that energy is going to be affecting the United States over the course of the next 14 years is going to be that our way of communicating with each other and the way that we communicate with our neighbors. Perfect. That is a perfect picture right there. You can see Neptune on the bottom of the screen and the symbol for Pisces. And we also see Chiron, the asteroid, is traveling with that. So there is going to be this sense of wounding that we're going to experience, but only so that we find a way to heal or find a way to feel better through our communication is going to be a very important key to our future. And with Neptune in the place that it is, that particular area of the chart suggests that, treaties or talks or communication. And because of the way it's aspecting the planets up in the right side of that chart, it kind of looks like, if you reach out and touch something, you form a connection with it. And Neptune is doing that at this present time with Venus up in the top of the chart. And, it's right there. He's exactly showing that. It's the top, right on the bottom of the screen there. You can see that it looks like 9's turned on their side. And so there's a whole collection of planets in that United States chart, which is Venus, Jupiter, the Sun, Mercury, part of Fortune. All of those planets in Cancer are going to have an open door for many things to be resolved. That would be with our finances, with our, the way that we communicate with other countries, the things that we discuss, our education, and in a very expanded way. So over the course of the next 14 years, there is going to be an open door for many things to be resolved. So let's talk about what that might look like, because Neptune is a planet that does influence oil, gasoline, and so we can expect that there is going to be things that will be resolved, or perhaps we'll find less of a we'll be able to let go of some of the control that we have from other countries over us because of our need for oil and gasoline. Perhaps we're going to find ways to use the water, which Neptune is also a strong indication of that water is going to be a key factor in the way that we produce energy. So, you can expect that over the next 14 years, and you can expect that there is going to be a lot of depth, or meaning going deeper into looking at, how can we on a day-to-day basis produce energy. And so the doors are open for these things to happen, and for resolve to happen with the issues that are financially impacting the world at this time. You heard me talk about this before, and it's interesting is that astrology does not teach us what will happen, but rather what is happening based on what has happened in prior cycles. So as you heard me talk about on the last show, Light the Way, I talked about the last time that Neptune was in Pisces, and what we experienced during those times. And here's some of the things that did happen. As I said before, the gold rush in California, that was one of the things that people tended to obsess over and sort of lost their minds in getting there. And we have that again down occurring in the Amazon. There was, in 1859, was the first exploration of oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania. One of the things that also that we see with Neptune is that it rules people's dependency, or the things that they get addicted to. It rules the immune system. People, your immunity to the world that surrounds you. You're going to see discoveries, or you're going to see things that are figured out in that way as well. Hospitals, the way we care for the people who are ill or suffering, and the other thing is you're going to also see that people are going to begin to really look inside rather than out so much. So basically, it'll be a reemergence to a more spiritual view of life, so a breakaway of the self-defeating cycles. So, sort of the things that have enslaved you or have had you trapped, that you begin to find resolve or dissolve with those type of issues in your life. And as I talked about before, the water systems and our fishing supplies, the effect that the oil and the gas, and it was interesting that Neptune, the first time it entered into Pisces was last year in April, and that was the time that we had the oil rig explode down in on the Gulf. And so there's a lot more to the effects of what happened there than anybody knows, because as I said before, Neptune does bring in that sort of confusion, or we don't have the whole truth. There's some things that are very much buried here that we're going to find out along the way. We're already seeing the effects with the baby dolphins that are washing up, and they're looking into if that is a direct result. But remember, Neptune is the dissolver. So, as I said before, that we will probably loosen our dependency on oil, and that, but there are a lot of secrets and things that are going to be covered up that we know are occurring, but they will come to light during this time. One of the things I think that is really one of the most prominent things that you're going to see happen while Neptune is in Pisces, the reemergence of a unified planet and a more highly evolved human consciousness. I do think that those things are going to be direct result of Neptune's path through Pisces. Now, Neptune is a very slow and nebulous planet. It is one in our solar system that is on the outskirts, the farthest away. So its energy is the longest, long coming in, but long staying, and then it takes a long time for it to leave. So this is going to be a life-changing period of time in our history. And Neptune's energy, as I said before, does sort of shroud us with mystery, and people are going to waken up to their spirit, more of a spiritual awareness of what drives them. What is it that you believe in? You're going to come to figure out that, what is it at the root or the base? What's the basis of what I believe in or don't believe in? If you are a Pisces, if you are a Gemini, if you are a Virgo, or if you are a Sagittarius, you're going to feel the effects of these 14 years, the next 14 years, quite incredibly. Some incredible things that you're going to learn, some incredible things that you're going to be moving through or experiencing. If you're one of the water signs, which is Cancer or Scorpio, you can expect that you're going to be one of the people that helps other people to understand what it is, that they believe in and what it is that pushes their buttons and guides them into the direction that they're going. So that is going to be important too. And any babies or children that are born during this time will typically grow up, with some very powerful beliefs, and we'll learn a lot from them. But remember that Neptune is that planet that is symbolically associated with illusion, delusion, glamour, spirituality, psychic ability. You're probably experiencing this already, that your level of sensitivity has deepened or heightened or become more expansive. But just know that if you do feel sort of like you're in a fog, or as if you're not quite sure what things are going to look like ahead, something is coming but you don't know what it is, so you're sort of in that fog, or you kind of feel like you're not really in your body, that's a perfectly normal manifestation of this energy, especially when we have a planet that has just ingressed into a sign which is at 0 degrees. But the intuition and people's perception and their imagination, there is a certain esotericism that, esoteric type of energy associated with this. So, there are some negative manifestations, which is people wanting to escape rather than deal with the matters at hand. And you will see that some people probably go off the edge over, the misunderstandings or the things that they don't see clearly, or they feel completely lost, so they begin to search and look. Those are definitely part of what some of the things that you'll experience while Neptune moves through this sign. I did want to talk about a couple other things. You can expect that your meditations or your journeying is going to become even more profound during this time. That you sort of know things that you don't really know why you know them. That would be a perfectly normal manifestation of this energy. There'll be more movies, more theater, more music and art relating to fantasy and imagination, out of this world type of experiences. Dreams. Your dreams will become more prophetic, more vivid, more meaningful, more lucid. Ask a question before you go to sleep, and your dreams will give you your clues. Those are perfectly normal manifestations as well. Expect that telepathy. People will be reading other people's mind, knowing what they're going to say way before they're going to say it. Those things are going to just sort of expand and become bigger than you can even imagine. So I know we're getting pretty close to the end of the show, but if you're wondering how this is going to affect you, what this looks like in your birth chart, how long is this influence? Is there something that is beginning to develop already? This is certainly something that you might want to take a look at. And if you do, you can certainly call me, go to my website, email me, and we could set up a time to analyze this and see what this looks like for you, because it can certainly light the way for you to understand what is developing. And as I'm recording today's show, the moon is full in Leo at 18 degrees, and it is a very exciting, very childlike type of energy, but it also does inspire courage. And it inspires, so there's this big influence right now as I speak with that full moon in Leo. So I hope you guys will enjoy that and just sort of have some fun with that full expression of Leo energy that is, which is developed and full light of the moon does shed light on things. And so anyway, I did want to speak about that because all these full moons that we're experiencing till this summer are extremely powerful for bringing up the things from the past that are not complete yet in your life. And I had I had that happen to me this morning driving here to do the TV show. Something came up from the past that is really forcing me to be really courageous to move through. So I want to tell you, if you've got something like that manifesting, you're right on cue. You're right in the place that you should be. So I hope that you will have a great week, and I hope that this information overview of Neptune moving through Pisces is going to help light the way for you and give you some idea of what you might expect, what we here in the United States should expect and over the course of the next 14 years. And of course, if you've got any questions, please feel free to call me. Write to me, Andrea, at Turn to the Stars. And so thanks for watching today, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week.